Good morning, folks. Happy Monday to you. And I hope and pray that this day has found you well. And I hope and pray that you are expecting and experiencing the blessings of God as we go through this day. I want to remind you to keep Elmer and Ann, Donna and Drake, and the rest of their family in your prayers. Tim passed away yesterday morning. If you're here at church, you knew that. If you saw me post that on the Facebook page yesterday, you know that. But certainly, let's keep them in our prayers as they prepare to honor Tim. And I'm sure we'll all know arrangements for that very, very soon. But above all, just keep them in your prayers, because it's never an easy thing to go through sorrow and grief, and it's certainly never an easy thing to go through when it hits at this time of year. And certainly let's continue to remember Elmer and Ann, as I said, because I don't know how anybody else looks at this idea, but me personally, I don't think that parents ought to bury a child, and that's where I stand on that. And so my heart goes out to them, and I just pray that the Lord will just give them peace, give them comfort, and may they be able to just find that peace in the midst of their sorrow. So be in prayer for them, and continue to be in prayer for all those that need that special touch from God. Be in prayer for one another, because we all need that special touch from God. I want to share with you today in the book of 1 Kings, chapter number 8, and verse number 61. 1 Kings chapter number 8 is the prayer of Solomon. And when we get to the latter part of 1 Kings chapter number 8, it goes from Solomon's prayer to Solomon blessing the people. And in verse number 61, he says this: "Let your heart therefore be perfect with the Lord our God, to walk in his statutes and to keep his commandments, as at this day." You know, Solomon is telling us something here in the Old Testament that we see Jesus teach us in the New Testament, that we are to walk worthy of him who called us. Walk in God's commandments. Walk in God's statutes. Let me give you a perfect example. We all know the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. On Christmas Day, I was talking to one of my nephews, and he's working at the Red Crab in Danville. He's bussing tables there, and we got to talking about the tips, and I was picking on him a little bit. I said, "Now you don't go bust them tables and take the tips that they leave for them waitresses, do you?" And of course, I was in jest, but I reminded him that he shouldn't do that, because he gets paid a much more hourly wage than a waitress gets paid. But then I told him that we don't tip based on a percentage. We don't sit there at the table when we go out to eat and figure up a percentage of our check. We tip based on our faith. We tip based on the Christian that we are, because of the golden rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's just one example, I feel, of what we read here when Solomon says, "Let your heart therefore be perfect with the Lord our God." By the way, we're not perfect. We're not going to be perfect. But if you're saved, you're sanctified, you're set apart. "Let your heart therefore be perfect with the Lord our God, to walk in his statutes and to keep his commandments, as at this day." Christian, some people say in the Old Testament, well, it's not relevant because we're in the New Testament. We live by grace and not by law. And I argue with that, because doesn't Solomon tell us right here? I said it a little bit ago, what Jesus teaches us in the New Testament: walk worthy of the Lord who has called us. Walk in his commandments. Walk in his statutes. So let's remember, Christian, that God calls us to do that. You know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. That is your calling, to walk worthy of God, walk in his statutes, walk in his commandments. Because when you do that, like I say, you will be that visible witness to the world around you. So be that visible witness today and every day. Love you, folks. God bless you, and I'll talk to you a little bit later.